at the start of the season, everybody was asking how long could Callum Wilson last, how many games could he play, but unfortunately, this little injury that he's picked up proves to be a lot worse than first thought. We've also got news on Anthony Gordon possibly looking at playing for Scotland. Tino Leitner is loving life as a Geordie, and Sven Botman could also require knee surgery. Let's take a look. Hi everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review YouTube channel. I'm Paul and this is the Daily News. Just doing a quick show before I head down to Liverpool for the Football Content Awards, of course. But if you do enjoy today's show, please do give it the thumbs up. Very important that we keep the likes coming in on the channel. And of course, if you're new, please do come and join this wonderful community that we have on the Toon Review by hitting the subscribe button, which is free to do so. And also that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any videos such as this one. Right, let's dive in. Callum Wilson, 6 weeks out. Now, of course, we did hear from Eddie Howe prior to the Bournemouth game and said that he's got a little bit of a tight hamstring and it's just, he'll just miss the game at Bournemouth. But as usual, with Callum Wilson, it has turned into something more serious and he's not going to be available probably now till January. It's a massive blow to Newcastle and a massive blow to Callum himself. But it does pose the question again within the Newcastle United fans, how long do we go with Callum Wilson? Because, without being too harsh on the guy, his injury record now, when he picks these injuries up, it seems to be longer term. It's not like, he's missing a game or two. This was a tight hamstring, we were told, but apparently now it's more serious and he will be missing for 6 weeks. It's a massive blow. Now, for me, obviously January's around the corner, the winter transfer window. I think this just proves a necessity really now to bring in a striker, and a striker who's going to come in and hit the ground running. Alexander Isak is currently out injured. He's coming back to fitness though, so he will be available hopefully after the international break. But if he breaks down again, where do we turn again? We're left without a striker. Yes, Anthony Gordon's been playing that position. It hasn't really worked. He's been sort of swapping with Joe Linton during the game and nothing seems to work. And, I think this now just drives Eddie forward to bringing in another striker, and a top quality one at that in January. We've had a few already linked. We've got a few transfer shows coming up during the international window as well, so we'll have a look at any of the strikers that are linked with Newcastle United. But certainly I think, we have to look at Callum now and say, right, he's not really a first choice striker because he can't stay fit. And, there's been spells where he has been fit, he has been okay, but inevitably he breaks down, and when he gets injured, it's always long term. It's not a short term thing where he misses a game. It always seems to be long term now with Callum, and that becomes a problem for Newcastle United and Eddie Howe, because he has to prepare for games, not sure of what strike force he's going to have. So I think it's very important now that we look to bring a striker in January, and a good one at that, who probably knows the Premier League and can hit the ground running. We need that kind of striker. But for Callum, it's disappointing. But again, it begs the question with all of us fans, how long do we keep going? Do we look to sell Callum Wilson in the summer? Is he reliable enough now to stay fit? Because we all know that as a sports person, and especially a footballer, once your body starts slowing down and breaking down on a regular basis, it's very hard to stay fit. And that's nothing against Callum. He's been a wonderful striker for us. But is it time now that, we say, right, he's a squad player only, and we have to rely on him as being a squad player because he just can't stay fit? Let me know in the comments what you think. Now, more reports have come in on, of course, Sven Botman's injury as well. And it just seems like this is taken over the headlines, really, of Newcastle United in the last few weeks, is injuries. We are crippled by them, and it continues to be the story moving forward. It looks like Sven Botman may have to have knee surgery, which will keep him out for an indefinite period of time. Obviously, he got injured, and we thought he might be back after the last international break. That didn't happen. Every time Eddie was asked about it, he says, I've got no update. it's not looking good for Sven. And, whatever this knee injury that he does have, it's proven to be really, really difficult to get over. To the fact now that it looks like he's got to have surgery. And this is, again, a massive blow, not just to Sven Botman, but to us as a team and a club. Because Botman is absolutely brilliant. He's a fantastic centre-back. Yes, Jamal Lascelles has stood in and done a wonderful job. Nobody can take that away from Jamal Lascelles. However, somebody like Sven Botman missing from your team is massive. Botman and Shea had a wonderful understanding. Their defensive record is second to none. It's outstanding. And now to find out that Botman may have to have surgery and miss another indefinite period of time, it's a huge blow. It's a huge blow to Newcastle, and something that we could have done without, with hearing about the news about, of course, Callum Wilson as well. Does that say now that we go and look at a centre-back as well in the January transfer window? Suddenly now, two positions have become a little bit more crucial for us. Yes, we've got Dummett and Kraft who can step into centre-back. No problem with that. But does Eddie want a more, a more classier centre-back to be brought in to play alongside Fabian Schär for the remainder of the season? Because it certainly doesn't look like Sven Botman is going to return anytime soon. It's a huge blow. So again, do they turn to January window and say, right, it's urgent that we bring these two positions in to cover for the injury breakdown that we've had at the club? But it's a massive blow to be missing Sven Botman. Now, I did say a while ago, and we discussed it quite a lot on the channel, regarding Newcastle United players, disappearing to other international destinations to play international football. Now, that seems to be the case again now with Anthony Gordon. Repeatedly snubbed, it's fair to say, by Gareth Southgate. There is no rhyme or reason why Anthony Gordon is not in this current England squad. There's no reason for it at all. When you look at some of the players that he's brought into that squad, it's ridiculous that Anthony Gordon is not there. Absolutely stinking ridiculous. And this is down to a manager who picks his favourites all the time. He picks players who don't necessarily play any games. He picks players who aren't in form. But this has been a problem with England managers down the line. Whenever they've came in, they've said, we'll pick players in form. It's only right that we do that. And then it turns around and you just don't get that. I get that he wants to have a stable squad, but when you're performing like Anthony Gordon is and you don't get a call up, you're going to be pissed. And repeatedly snubbed for England. So he has a chance to play for Scotland, just like Elliot Anderson. Tino Livramento can also play for the Scots. But obviously he's a lot young. He's very young. He's got the world at his feet at the minute, Tino Livramento. But for Anthony Gordon, he's been told, the reporting is saying he's been told to sit tight because an England call-up is imminent. But how does he know that? How does Anthony Gordon know that as a player, especially with the manager that we have? I just don't have any faith in Gareth Southgate. I think he's let a lot of players down when they're performing week in, week out for their clubs, playing some wonderful football, and they repeatedly get snubbed at international level because we've got a manager who is too stubborn to do anything about it. It's shocking, really. It really is shocking. But hopefully, Anthony Gordon sits tight, and look, we know, or we pretty much think, that Southgate will be away after the summer tournament. Somebody else come in, fresh ideas, and who will actually pick players who are in form will hopefully give Anthony Gordon a chance. Because if we lost a player like Anthony Gordon to Scotland, it would be criminal. It really would be absolutely shocking. And finally, Tino Livramento has given a recent interview on how he is loving life at Newcastle United right now. But he also did state in the interview that it was a very, very tough decision to make the move to St James's Park. Now, this is because obviously he knew that Kieran Trippier was there and he wasn't going to be an automatic first choice at Newcastle. So that's what he had to think about, given his age, given what he wants to do in his football career. It was a very, very difficult move for him to make, to come to Newcastle United and think, right, I'm not guaranteed to be the number one starter at right back. But what he did say, of course, and we remember when he signed, he couldn't wait to get started learning from Kieran Trippier. And given his performances, Livramento, since he's been at the club, when he started games, he's been absolutely sensational. We have a real star here for years to come at Newcastle United, and hopefully stays for those years to come as well, because he is going to be an England right back. There's no doubt about it. He's got the talent. He's comfortable at left back as well on his left foot. He's got it all. He's got it all. But he did say it was a new experience for him, coming to a new club like Newcastle United, way up north, of course, way from where he's been living. But he said there are a lot of fans you see when you go out for a coffee, and they're always respectful, nice and kind. It feels like a family up here, and everyone loves you. Now, again, this is the same as what ex-players will talk about Newcastle United. You know, Joey Barton came out with an interview yesterday and said that, you know, out of everywhere he's been playing in his career, the 4 years he had at Newcastle and living in Newcastle were the best of his career. He loved living in Newcastle United. And I think that's why players get such a shock when they come up here. They think, oh, Newcastle, it's cold and grim, as many people have stated from down south in the past. Yet they come up here and they absolutely thrive. They love their life. They love the Geordie public. And that's exactly what Tino Livramento's saying already. And he's only been here half a season, not even half a season yet. So I can't wait to see where this kid goes in his career with Newcastle United, because I think he is going to be a star of the future for us. He's a fantastic player already, and under the guidance of Eddie Howe, he will only get better. So it's really nice to hear Tino Livramento come out with that he's loving life at Newcastle, and long may that continue. But that's it for the Daily News today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said at the start, if you do enjoy the show, please do hit the thumbs up. And of course, if you're new and like what you see, please do subscribe to the channel. Come and be part of this wonderful community. It is free to do so, but don't forget to hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we schedule our live shows or we upload any future videos such as this one. But that's it for now. If you're watching this on Thursday, don't forget Billy is doing a show all on his own tonight. He's doing a historical watch-along, which is the Newcastle 4, Arsenal 4 game from St James's Park. Unforgettable comeback, of course. Join Billy for that one. You know, let him know in the chat that you're there and you're supporting him, and have a good bit of banter with Billy tonight with the historical watch-along. It should be great, reliving an absolutely fantastic moment in Premier League history. So don't forget that. All three of us will be back tomorrow night, of course, but me and Alex are at the awards tonight, so fingers crossed we can bring something home for you guys, but it doesn't really matter. The fact that we're in the finals is just enough anyway. But it should be a great night. But listen, have a great day, folks, and hopefully tune in to see Billy tonight. But in the meantime, take care.